أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Verily we begin by praising Allah, giving Him the praise that He is due. We Lord Him, that means we seek Him as our Lord and as our Rabb, and we seek refuge with Allah from the evil of ourselves and the bad results of our deeds. Whoever Allah guides, let me be clear, whoever Allah guides, nobody could lead that person astray. Whoever Allah leaves him to go astray, there is no one to guide him. I bear witness, and I can only speak for myself. Each individual human being, each individual Muslim will have to speak for themselves and say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu means me, I bear witness. Not we, well not washadu, ashhadu. Ashhadu means me, washadu means us. I can't speak for you. I don't want you to speak for me. I go before Allah the same way you go before Allah with our own deeds. Nobody will speak for us on the Day of Judgment. We're only going to hear nafsi, nafsi. That's the deal. So be prepared. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Now, this is a very important point for me to mention to you. Because for me, like unlike many of you, I didn't come into Islam the same route that you came. My family, they came to this country back in 1786. If you like, I have documentation in my briefcase, anyone could see it. It's not only me, you can go in Nova Scotia where we landed and you can see that my family, when they came here, they were Muslim. The first two generations who came here, the first two waves, they called it, of people who came here, they were Muslim. The third group that came, they were Muslim too. But when they saw the condition that the Muslims were put under, the hardships, the difficulties, the pressure, they left from Islam and became Christian. I grew up with those people. I grew up under that condition of being away from Islam. After Allah blessing us with Islam, the people left Islam because they couldn't manage the pressure and the difficulty in this new situation called Canada. We need to be clear. So when I say to you, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, I'm saying to you that it was a very difficult and rough journey. It wasn't something simple, it wasn't something handed to me. There's no circumstance here where I was entitled. When I seek the guidance of Allah, Allah gave me because I want it. When the people are talking to their children, you should be talking to them that they want it. And they want to give it to them because they need it. We want to give it to them, but they want it. Those are the two things we have to watch. Now, I say to you, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I bear witness there is no God worthy of worship of all the gods people worship. None of them is worthy of worship except for Allah. He's one God, unique in His oneness, and He has no partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad, to whom the Quran was revealed, he's a servant and messenger of Allah. Peace and blessings be upon him. As to what follows, verily the best speech is the book of Allah, and the finest guidance is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I give you this introduction because I need you to know who I am. Now I'm going to show you some information, and it's only information. But I welcome you because in the English language, one of the most powerful words we have is the word welcome. And when you say it to people, you know what they feel? Welcome. We want you to feel welcome. Absorb this information. As the brother mentioned, we have more than 20 years experience. I know some of you brothers, since you came here back in the 90s, when you first came here, some of them, we helped them to come here. We helped them, and when they came here, we welcomed them, and we're still friends from that time until then. And even before we knew them, even before we saw them, we were making dua for them and the people of Afghanistan. So we have strong ties with you, and we love you. For the sake of Allah, we love you. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all Jannah for those. Say Ameen. Ameen. Alright, let's get started. Now, we're here today to talk about a very important issue. How many people think this is an important issue? Muslim youth losing their identity. How many people understand that it affects every single one of us? Whether you agree with it, you like it, it's not even important. The only thing that matters is that they're coming now to destroy themselves. The brother, Jazakallah Khair, he was making a very good point. The brother asked about the issue of suicide. MashaAllah, such an important point. I'm working in the jail. You're going to see, brother, can you go?
Yeah.
Please. I'm going to be like this. Okay, I'm working in the jail. Actually, these are a bunch of my accomplishments. Forget about that. We have too many. I have much more than that. This is not either. Go to the next one. I want to show you. This is one we got from the jail. We're working there more than 23 years now. This was given in 2010. 2010, we got it in 2010. So that's 4 years more. That's 24 years. It's 18 years we put in. It's 23 years we're working in this place. One place. But we're working more than that all around the province. We're working where? In the jails. Drug rehabilitation. In the counseling. For the people in the street. For the people doing too many bad things. Shelters and so on like this. Always difficult. So I want to show you that so you understand, because if you don't understand me, my words will maybe be like smoke in the air. Maybe just a little bit of fluff. You don't have to listen to me. I'm not from your culture. I don't speak your language. But I'm hoping we can speak a language of understanding today. That we can get to the point where we can help people who may want to, as the brother was mentioning, commit suicide. But recognize that they have value with Allah. That they have been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the condition of success. They weren't even given it. Allah made each one of us, from our mothers and fathers, successful. If you remember that, if you're ever thinking that condition of success, how are you throwing that away? Allah made each one of us come into His deen. It doesn't belong to us. We act like it does sometimes, but it's not true. It's not our religion. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's religion. And He brought us into it because He wanted us to be guided, to give us the third win, it's possible, to go where? To go to Jannah. How many people besides me like to go to Jannah? Is there anybody here? I mean, anybody? I know some people you wouldn't put up your hand no matter what I ask. I get it. No problem. But okay, so we want to go to Jannah. Do we have to know that we want what we love for ourselves, we want for our brother, or for our sister, or for our children? Is there anybody here who wants to take their children and throw them into hellfire? Nobody. Not one of us. So how can we let them lose their identity? And we don't know a system, we don't know the condition, we're going to let them commit suicide, we don't speak to the issue directly, let them know that they're winners, that Allah created them as winners, and they don't have to go so far. Let's talk about what's going on. You see, here's the thing. Sometimes, this is one of our advertisements. It says, when they're born, they fill us with such hope. Sometimes things go wrong as they grow. As parents, one of the best gifts we can give our children is the ability to make proper decisions in life. Agree? Alright? SIPKIS success story. SIPKIS means see it big, keep it simple. Success story. Right? Learn about how parents have given up on their children, found hope through our family and youth counseling strategies. Everybody understand my words? Good. Let's proceed. Here's what we have for you today. We're going to be talking, when you're ready. Oh, you started already. Okay, no, go back. You're going too fast, man. Come on.
I was there.
Okay, no, you know what? I got to keep up with you. That's what happened. Okay, so how does the world see us? You see, we're talking about identity, but the reality is, the world is also looking at us. And that has an effect on our identity. Are we coming out to be like the little child who's innocent and is always looking for peace and looking for the nice way to go? That's how they're seeing us? That we're innocent people like this? Or is it like this guy over here who's tattooed with all these different ideas of terrorism, of extreme behavior, of 911 and all this other radical ideas and something like that? How do they see us? How are we being painted? What is the media coming out to portray against us? We know the truth. We're not here to argue that or debate that issue. We know what the reality is. But it has effect on us here. And we have to know that. So let's talk about how we deal with this. You see, many of our youth, they're coming out every day, they're waking up, this is what they're going to. They're going to the video games. And what are they doing? In the video game, they're putting on all their armor. They're putting on all this thing. They have the guns, and they have the things, and they have the knives, and they have everything to destroy. And this is in their concept, in their mind. This is what they're going through on a continuous basis. Not about building. Not about caring. Not about loving. And so the world is getting a picture of us because we're sending out that picture. And we got to be honest, that's what's going on. But if we're putting out this picture, is this the right picture we want people to see? Is this the right picture we want our kids to have? That's another question, please. Yes. So what should be our identity? Our identity should simply be this. It should be La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. Inshallah. We hope on the Day of Judgment, the people who say this and the people who do this, on the Day of Judgment, the scale will be very high for them. The weight of these words will be very severe in reward for them. The effect in our lives right now can be massively successful. Now, I want to tell you this. I want to share a story with you. Can you listen to a story? Brief story. True story. You know, 21 years I'm giving dawah. 21. But to who? I'm praying for both my mother and my father, because we didn't come up as Christian, as Muslim, we came up as Christian. But I embraced Islam back in 1983, May the 10th, 1983, 1:45 p.m. Are you with me? May the 10th, 1:45 p.m., 1983. I embraced Islam. From that time until the time that it happened, I'm praying for my mother and my father. Does that make sense to anybody here? Anybody here besides me pray for their parents? Anybody here love them enough to raise your hand and say, yes, I pray for them? Not just because it's Mother's Day. Mother's Day is every day. We don't have to wait for these people and do that thing. We show honor and respect to our mothers and fathers all the time. Anyway, 21 years I'm giving dawah to my mom. Finally she accepts Islam. When did she accept Islam? The day I'm coming back from Hajj. Why? Because she's praying for me. I'm in the Hajj. And we're in Mina, and we're stoning the Jamarat. Anybody made Hajj? Put up your hand if you made Hajj. Yeah, Hajj, come, put it, this. You see? Now, some of you know, some of you don't. You're stoning the Jamarat. And it's a very exciting time. But some people, they're going so far. It's a difficulty. They get emotional. And sometimes, many years ago, the people, many of them used to die. The people get stoned, and the people get hit, and people get trampled. Too many things. I'm over there, and that year, 286 people died. My mother, she's trying to call me. My family's trying to call me. They can't reach me. 18 times they call. They're seeing on CBC or CFTO that, oh, so many people died in Saudi Arabia. Maybe she's thinking, oh, maybe he's one of them. She raised her hand and said, Ya Allah, if you bring my son back to me, I will embrace Islam. She's a Christian, not Muslim. But the day I came back, guess what she did? She took her shahada. It's a good story, right? Say mashallah. So what are we talking about? So my point to you is this. This is our identity. So until the day that she died, she embraced this. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. My dad, he fought me for 24 years. It's not like your dads. Your dads, you honor your dads, you respect your dads, you have this condition. Not me. My dad's fighting me. He's insulting me. He's abusing me. Unbelievable. But the day before, he gets sick, and I'm giving him dawah for all of these years, and then one day he gets sick. He almost died. I go to him in the hospital. He says, what do I need to do? I said, what do you mean? He says, how do I embrace your religion? I said, oh, repeat after me. What did I tell him? Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. The doctor, Jewish doctor, he gave him 6 months. 6 months to the day he was gone. But he died on this. This is his identity. I hope it's going to be mine. I certainly hope it's going to be yours. But who's in charge of that? You are. I am. We have to be individuals by that. So that's why we have to be clear about that. Now, next please. Okay, so where are we going? You see, it's all about how you see yourself. How do you see yourself? Little pussycat or big ferocious lion? Ready to go out there in the world and do your duty. Alright? So if we're moving forward, we need to know this. Okay, so I'm going to point like this, you're going to change. Okay, good. Alright, so anybody know this? What can you see? You see evil? What else? Oh, you see good? Do we know the difference between good and evil? Let's make sure we know. You see, if you look on the outside, you see the good. But if you look on the inside, you can see the evil. Do we know the difference? But we need to know the difference. Now, has Islam given us any training that would provide us with the ability to understand what that difference is? Sure it has. The Prophet ﷺ, what did he do? He gave us a very good example. Right? It's narrated in Bukhari, Sahih, Hadith. It says, the example of a good companion in comparison to a bad one is that of the seller of the musk. The musk is like the perfume. Right? And the blacksmith bellows. The good one is like the one who has musk, and the bad one is the one who has like the fire, and he's making the horseshoes, and he's making the swords, and he's making a big stink, and the heat is coming too much. Right? From the first one, you either buy the musk or enjoy its smell, while the bellows would either burn your clothes or give you a bad or nasty smell on you. This is the thing. So what are our friends like? Because friends is a big issue, and we're going to examine that very carefully now. This is one of the reasons and understandings we have why the people are losing their identity, why our young people. You see, when we start talking about the reality of how things are functioning, We need to know that there's certain things that come now to affect how things are functioning for us. Okay? If you notice that there's an issue of history. History becomes a major issue and our coming down to have an identity, and when we have an identity crisis, we need to identify that as one of the main issues. You see, what happens is, in the middle there's the event, and on the outside are the people. And what's supposed to happen here is that the event itself is supposed to stay isolated so everybody can tell their story. But what has happened is that most of the time the Europeans, they're putting the story, they're putting the event on the top or outside of the thing, and they put themselves in the middle. It's always their story. We're only telling their story, their point of view, their idea about how things happen, their truth, if they can have it. Like this. So we're not getting any of our story. Our identity is not being supported, it's not being encouraged, it's not being attended to. And this is one of the big issues. Everybody get that? Now, if we go around and we talk about what happened with the natives, we talk about what happened with the Arabs, the Africans, the Hispanic, every one of them has the same problem. The history that we're looking at is a major issue of coming out to take away from us our identity. We have to look at changing that. We can't get into that whole thing. That's a whole other workshop and another time. We have to also look at the issue of social connections. You see, we're coming here into this country, and this country has a major issue with culture. But it's not like your culture from your back home, right? We have an issue with social media, but it's not like it back home. We have the issue with religion, we have education, we also have peers and friends and work. Major issues on the things that influence our identity. Let's just talk about culture. We have so many cultures. People come from cultures that are very strong. I know that people in Afghanistan and Pakistan, India, so many of the African cultures, they have very strong conditions and connections with culture. But what happens is, you come over here now, the conditions change. It's not the same. You're not having the same condition. Over here, they have so many other cultures that they can hold on to. Let's discuss some of them, or at least we mention them. What is it? They have the culture of what? They have coming out gun culture. They have music culture. They're having now to have sex culture. What are they having? They're having gang culture. They're having, come on, you could add more than me. You know better what you see by yourself. They have video culture. It's a whole culture now. You see, in the jails, they have what they call institutional culture. How many cultures you have? You coming from one culture and you're holding on to that culture. Over here, they have too many ideas. Pretty soon the kids say, I don't have to listen to you. That's not the only idea of culture that they're giving to me. We're going to school. They're having the sexual culture coming to them in the schools. And you have to, if your kids are going to the school, in our public system, you have to let them go to that system where they're telling them those issues. And they're speaking about those matters. Really? Okay, no problem. We're going to discuss that down the road. Let's go, brother. Bismillah. Let's talk about Islam. Whoop. Something happened to my point. Okay, so we want to talk about the culture. And when we talk about the culture, I want to focus on the 5 things that surround Islamic culture. What are they? Whatever is halal is from our culture. Whatever is mustahab is from our culture. Whatever is makruh is from our culture. Makruh meaning it's okay but not really okay. Whatever is haram, which is prohibited, is from our culture. Whatever is wajib, absolutely necessary, is from our culture. These are the 5 things that make up Islamic culture. And if we can come now to move from the concept of trying to implement that culture and being up against all these other cultures and get people to buy into this, especially our youth, you see things change so quickly, it's amazing. But we have to change the conversation. Go ahead. So let's talk about Muslim character. Because when you get to the point where we're implementing these things, we start talking about what it actually takes to improve the culture and the character of the people. First of all, we talk about guided families. Then we're going to talk about a strong community, a united community, at least to whatever degree we can unite, right? We need to talk about good friends. And good friends are people who are going to remind you about Allah. And then also committed dawah. You know, if we're coming to this land, and I'm a person who, my family was already here, but if we're coming to this land, and we're not actually doing dawah, and we're not supporting dawah, and we're not putting that thing forward, we need to get prepared for the possibility of the devastation that has already happened to my family, where our families, they leave from Islam. We've seen them leave. Loss of identity, loss of identity is a small thing to the loss of your deen. People leave and join somewhere else, or go somewhere else, or stop practicing anything at all. So we need Islamic education to be a big issue here. Okay, next please. The Prophet ﷺ said this: A person follows the way of the deen of his way of life of his close friend. Therefore, let each one of you look carefully at whom he chooses for his friends. You see, I want to mention this because friends is going to become a very serious issue in the issue of identification and why we're losing it. We're holding on to values that are coming to take us away from those things that should bring us to the best result and condition. Consider this. University of Michigan, United States of America, did a survey. They did a study in 1958 to determine what were the major influences on character development. 1958, they listed 5 issues. They listed family, school, church, peers, and TV. Is everybody with me? 1980 to 1985, they listed they did another survey and they listed their findings. Let's review. What did they say? It peers went from number 4 to number 1. Family dropped to number 2 as an influence in character building. TV moved up to number 3. TV was really expanding in the 80s. And then school dropped to number 4. We go forward, we start looking at 2001. What do we see? We see that peers still in the number 1 position. TV is now joined by what? Computers. Family has moved down to number 3. Does anybody understand this? This is simple math. So where's the value of the influence of family? It's gone down. Big time. So with that now, we start looking at what's going on today. We talk about the loss of identity, but if we're going to be honest, let's be honest. We're looking at peers, friends, our children are listening more to their friends than they're listening to their parents. True or true? You see? Major influence. So if we're going to tackle this thing, we need to tackle it at the root and try to take out the seed so the root has no cause to grow anymore. So if we're looking at it and we know that Pierce is the number 1, then after that, what's next? Right? We have TV and we have TV and computer. No, it's computers now and TV. Major influences. Things have turned around completely. Where's family? Gone. You see, I want to go back a little bit and I want to look at 1980, 1985. In 1958, they listed 5 things. In 1980, 1985, they only listed 4. What's missing? Church. I didn't say religion, I said church. But if we take it as religion, then religion also doesn't follow along here either. Now these are not our values, but these are values that we're plugging into while we're here in this society. You need to know that. You need to know that these are major influences on how things function for us. Moving forward. You see, what do you see? Come on, work hard. You see? What do you see? Anybody? What do you see? You see, if you look on the outside, you see me. If you look on the inside, you see you. Anybody get that? Myself. You see, this is a conversation. This is a training. This is an educational platform right now to be able to make sure that you understand that we're dealing with these issues. You see, we look at the end result of the worst of what happens from our community members. I want to take you briefly, it's not including what we're planning to present, but let me tell you something. When we started our program, 1988, actually the jailer said in 1982 there was less than 1% Muslim population in any jail across Ontario. We started our program 1988. And when we started our program, it was still right around that same 1% or less. Then it went up to 5%. Then it went up, after about 10 years, it went up to about 7% to 10%. Now it's coming down to be, in these days and times, between 15% and 20%. So the jails, right down the street, there's one, and there's other ones that they're building. They're building super jails now. They're estimating that in the super jail alone, there's going to be more than, right now there's about 110, 115. Right now they're saying it's going to be triple that by the end of this year. For Muslims, not for everybody else. It can hold 2,500 people, 300 of those people possibly are going to be Muslim. Is that a problem? You bet, but that's a whole other discussion. We'll have to tackle that another time. Let's go forward. I'm running out of time, so we're going to have to speed it up a bit. Okay, that's me? Okay, so, the brothers, the sisters, people are always saying, I got your back. Anybody ever heard that before? Don't worry, man, I got your back. You know what I mean? It's a famous saying for the people in the street, but it didn't come from the street. We get it from our religion. But if you don't know, you don't know. And here it is. Abu Hurairah narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever conceals the faults of a Muslim, Allah will conceal his faults in the world and in the hereafter. Allah has the back of a servant, so long as the servant is at the back of his brother. The people who are coming now to need this support and this condition of reorganizing themselves, they need it. They shouldn't be denied it. But it has to become part of what we do also in the masjids and in the schools and in the different community settings where we have these opportunities to reach them and bring them to a condition where we can teach them. We can do that, but we have to work hard. Here's the thing. Next slide. You see, it really comes down to a matter of awareness. Pump one time, just once. You see, can anybody see that? Okay, this is our awareness. Let's say that this was your awareness coming into this place. Now, is that enough? Nobody thinks that that's enough. When we start talking about losing the identity and losing the people, brother, you're pushing me. What am I going to do here? You're killing me, right? Is that enough? It's not enough, is it? Nobody thinks so. One more time. Is that enough? Is it more, right? More? It's okay? We're only talking about awareness here. We're not talking about commitment. We're not talking about education. We're just talking about awareness. Is that enough? It's not enough. One more time. How about that? It's good? No, it's not. Really, our awareness should be like this. It should be off the charts. Because this is a danger. It's a danger to us, it's a danger to our community, it's a danger to our religion. So we should be absolutely protecting ourselves at every different turn. So here's the thing. Next slide. Here's what we need to do. We need to do these two things. It is not tricky at all. What do we need to do? We need to learn and then we need to teach. But it should be simultaneous. That we learn it and we teach it right away. And when we do that, we're going to be able to have a greater amount of success in a very fast way. Okay? But here's the thing. How do we learn? How does a person learn? You see, they've done scientific studies. I don't have to reinvent the wheel here. I can show you that there's scientific studies done by a doctor named Dale in 1969 that say when people actually get to the point where they're doing things, that after 2 weeks, they will remember 90% of what they're involved in. If they actually do it, not sit on the sidelines and watch it, not just observe it from some distance, not just hear about it, but they actually do it. When you get to the point where we get people more active, you're going to get a better result. So, who do we want our kids to be like? There's a guy named Michael Hart. Now, some of you have seen this before. And this is good. This is good stuff. This is the best of what I can show you. If we're going to talk about losing the identity, there's one guy who we know never lost his identity. There's one person who we know, his identity was the Quran. His character was the Quran. La ilaha illallah, he was all about that. But guess what? The Christians also recognized him. The Jews recognized him. Michael Hart, who happens to be a Jew, he's coming out to say the ranking of the 100 most influential persons in the world is who? Drum roll. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad. And why did he say that? He said Hart decided to choose Muhammad over Jesus or Moses. Hart attributes this fact to that Muhammad was supremely successful in both the religious and secular realms. Supremely successful. That's our guy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and keep him safe. Now, I want to say to the youth, I want to make a shout out right now, to the families and to the youth especially, there's no entitlement. Nobody's going to give you anything here. You're not entitled to anything, don't expect it. You don't have to work. You're going to have to change your thinking and automatically change the way you function to be able to get where you want to go. So if you're ready to do that, there's so many different resources. I'm one of those resources, we can help. But only come when you're ready, because otherwise we don't waste our time. And really, not to be harsh, but we want to be honest. See, at the end of the day, oh, sorry, you didn't get there? Okay, I'll go too fast. No, go, you're going back. Okay, good. Okay, let's talk about this. You see, we have to develop our ABCs. ABCs include attitude, populate, please. Attitude, commitment, attitude, belief, and commitment. ABCs. Alright? So let's start. Okay, so now where do we go from here? You see, we want to get a thing called success by the numbers. And when I say that, I want you to come now to work with me on a formula, okay? To be able to solve this quiz. What is the most important thing that is needed in the process of dynamic change? That means quick change, effective change, real change, right? For a person, any person, but if they change this one thing, everything changes. What is it? If they change this one thing about themselves, everything changes very quickly. Anybody know? Attitude? You know that? Okay, alhamdulillah. Good. So, populate. Here we go. Alright, here's the thing. Right? If A to Z is equal to 1 to 26, every letter has a number, every number has a letter. What do we have? We're looking for a formula, right? What's our formula? Can I go for it? Okay. Is it hard work? No, that's only 98. Is it knowledge? That's 96. Is it what? Love? 54. Is it luck? 47. So what is it? Populate to the end. What do we have it? It's our attitude. Attitude is 1 plus 20 plus 20 plus 9 plus 20 plus 21 plus 4 plus 5. 100% of the time, if you want to change something, anybody, if anyone wants to change something, you want to change something, you change your attitude, you get a better result. Faster result. More excellent. Okay? So here's the thing. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. That's just some advice. So, I'm saying this. Okay, next one. We're talking about the importance of supporting family, community, dawah, and dawah to Islam. This is a person's life on the left. Oh, that's on my right. Right? Your left. That's coming out if they're following all over the place and they're not doing these things. A person's life goes straight as soon as we come now to put the priority where it should be. I'm almost done, brother. Now, we have a problem. We have a problem. Now, you're not going to like this, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Here's the deal. This is the story of everybody, somebody, nobody, and anybody. Once there was an important job to be done, and everyone was just so sure that somebody would do it. Now, anyone could have done it, but nobody did it. When nobody did it, everybody got angry. But because they were sure that it was somebody's job. They thought that somebody should do it, but they did not realize that nobody would do it. So it ended up that everybody blamed somebody for something that anybody could have done, but that nobody did. And this is like this. Oh, mashallah. Okay, mashallah. Okay, so I'm running out of time. Here we go. Okay, we start talking about friends, and I showed you the issue about friends. What does Allah tell you? Do not take do not take intimate friends other than your own people. That means the Muslims. Be careful to take the Muslims to be your people who you're going to be friends with, so that they can remind you about Allah. And this is from the Quran, Ali Imran. And then we have focus. The Prophet ﷺ, what did he tell us? He said, value 5 things before 5 other things. Youth before old age, health before sickness, affluence before poverty, leisure before coming too busy, and life before death. And may Allah bless us to have righteous friends in supporting us and carrying the dawah of Islam forward. Okay, this is my contact information. Anybody making note? Please make note. I have some flyers available as well. And also I want to inform you that we're putting on a program. We're putting on a program. It's a free introduction. We're going to be asking the people here if we can do it here and be able to make a session where you'll be able to come and you'll be able to ask your questions, but also get some limited training on transforming youth abusive behavior. In your homes, in the schools, wherever they're doing it, we can help you bring some techniques and some discussion around this issue that can help you change that. Again, this is my contact information. Give one of the brochures before you go, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. And I thank you for this time to be here today. If I said anything wrong and offended anyone, truly I ask Allah's forgiveness, and I seek forgiveness from you. And if I said anything that's of any benefit from you, truly you should know that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And truly I ask you to keep me in your dua, as I surely will keep you in mind. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the Jannah for those. And the last thing I want to mention to you, the last thing is this. Please don't let us forget the people, our relatives, the ones we know and that we don't know, the people from our family, our Muslim family who have passed away. They have a right to a sadaqah, they have a right to a sadaqah jariyah, and they have a right to be remembered. Let us not forget them. However it is, we can, let us make some effort like that, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it for us, and may Allah bless others to come after us who will do that for us when we're gone. Does anybody believe that's a good thing? Yep. Well, let's get it done. Jazakallahu kulli khairan. Assalamu alaikum.